Alright, now we want to make the skirt block. The skirt block is the easiest of all the blocks to make. The skirt block is the easiest of all the blocks to make. As usual, get your fabric. And on the wrong side, along the width, fold it in half. When you fold it in half, iron 1 inch zip allowance on one side. Then after ironing the 1 inch zip allowance, bring this folded end to meet the zip allowance. Okay, so this way actually. Yeah, so you bring this folded end to the zip allowance. And there you have it. So, iron here, so you have like a definite crease. Now we are going to make our horizontal, we're going to make our vertical measurements first. I want this skirt to stop at my knee. Okay, so the top of the skirt is your waistline. The bottom of the skirt is your hem. The top of the skirt is your waistline. So getting a chalk, you measure. Now you measure your waist to hip. Now your waist to hip is your shoulder to hip minus your shoulder to waist. So if your waist is 17 inches and your shoulder to hip is and your shoulder to hip is like 26 inches, then your hip from the waist is 26 minus 17, which is 9 inches. Okay, so I wrote the formula beneath this video, just and gave an example as well. So just in case you're confused about this, just look at the formula, you understand. So your waist to hip measurement is what you take right now. Add half an inch. Then after that, you take your waist to knee measurements. Your waist to knee measurements is your shoulder to knee minus your shoulder to waist. It's 23 for me, so add 1 inch. Add 1 inch to that one. Now after making your measurements, the next thing you want to do is at the very top, start measuring from the folds. Start measuring from the fold to the zip allowance. So my zip allowance is on this side, so I'll start measuring from this side and go towards there. Here I am. What you do now is your waist divided by 4 plus 2 inches. That's the standard. Waist divided by 4 plus 2 inches. Now if you're very curvy, like you have very, very large hips, then you should do waist divided by 4 plus 3 inches if you are very curvy. So waist, no. Then on your hip, starting from this place, from the zip allowance area, measure your hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches. your hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches. If you're very curvy, you have large hips, make it plus 3 inches. Then for your hem, it's 1 inch lower. That's whatever you got for your hip, subtract 1 inch. Now this is where we will cut. This area will cut along. So now we will join from here to here. At this point I will need my big ruler because this is a bit too long for the short one. So just join and then join there as well. Now the human hip is curvy, it's not straight like this. If you do something like this, you have pointed edges at your hip. You have a point that will be pointed at your hip, it won't curve. So you don't want that. So take your French curve and create a curved line. Create a curved line. Alright, so this is where we'll be cutting. We'll be cutting along here. Take your scissors and cut. Alright, we have cut it now, and when you do that you should have this piece, which is like front and back, and you should have this. The back should be two different two of them. So we'll start work on this one first to create our dart. To create our dart, so moving 4 inches from the center fold. That's an industry standard, using 4 inches. 4 inches for the dart. It's a standard. So let me just take this and just bring this close back so you can see. Now if you're seeing it well, so we'll do 4 inches. 4 inches. 4 inches. You are going to take this down. There you go. And to down though. Okay, so from the 4 inches, measure half an inch. Measure half an inch from this place on the waistline. Measure half an inch. Now if you're really curvy, you have a tiny waist and bigger hips, like you are pear shaped, then you should consider using 3/4 of an inch here, 3/4 of an inch for your dart instead of 1/2 inch like I am using. You should consider using, if you're hippie, like very curvy, and you have tinier waist, you know, compared to your hips, then you should use 3/4 of an inch here. But if you just have normal proportions or something close to normal proportions, use 1/2 inch here. Then from this point here, mark 6 inches down from the 1/2 inch from here to this line that runs across and runs down. So from here to here, mark 1/2 inch, mark 6 inches, sorry, and then use your line to draw the 6 inches, your ruler, sorry, to draw the 6 inches. You should repeat this for the back as well. So I want to press for the other side of this skirt, I want to press. As usual, please make sure that all your marks are made towards the left side of your garment. Please make sure that all your marks are made towards the left side of your garments. So I'll press this. I'll repeat the same process for the second half of the front. For the second half of it, of the front part of the skirt, I'll repeat the same process for this part of the front half of the skirt. Then I will do exactly the same thing for the back. So I'll press this now, and then I'll repeat the same thing there, and then I'll take the back pieces. Okay, so I'm done with the front part of the skirt. As you can see, my dart on this side is pressed, so it's easy. It's going to be very easy for me to sew this. So I'll repeat the same thing for the back. I'll pick 4 inches from the zip allowance. Inches from the zip allowance. Mark it down to my trunk. Press it. So it's really defined. Take 1/2 inch from this point. If you are curvy, please make it 3/4 of an inch instead of 1/2 inch. If you are, very curvy, then 6 inches down to the ironed line, ironed fold, and then down you go. This is always made on the left side of the garment so that I can easily feed it into my sewing machine and go along, so repeat the same thing you did on this side of the skirt. Repeat it on the last part of the skirt, and then start by sewing your darts first. After sewing your darts, you now join the skirts. So there it is. I have stitched the darts. As you can see, I've stitched the darts. And it was such a breeze. What I do is I backstitch the beginning of the dart, and then just go down, and now run it off. Go down the dart following the chalk mark, and just run it off the fabric. When it runs off the fabric, then I stop the sewing machine. So there it is. It's looking nice, isn't it? And I did the same thing for the back. Did the same thing for the back. Okay, double stitch the top, the top, but I do not double stitch here because I do not want to add bulk. I don't want to add bulk here, so I just run it off the machine. I then tie a knot with the 2 threads at this end, so as to eliminate bulk. Alright, now I am going to now join these pieces, the 3 of them, join the 3 pieces together and sew them. Right sides touching each other. That's how you're going to sew this. Right sides touching each other with half an inch seam allowance. So you just stitch. Remember which side are you going to sew on. Whenever you want to pin, remember the side you're going to sew on. So I'm going to feed this fabric like this into my machine. I'm going to feed it, and it's going to run like this. So this is the side I'll put my pins on, so I can easily remove them, and I can see them and remove them as it's running through my machine. So pin all, especially if this is like your first time sewing a skirt, I really advise you to pin so that you don't make a mistake. So pin. So there you go. We've pinned this side. Okay, we've pinned it. So now we'll just sew it. After sewing this with half an inch seam allowance, we'll now come pin this side, sew it. Remember, right sides touching themselves. You're sewing on the wrong side of the fabric. After doing this side, I'll do the other side.